Welcome back, Music Maniacs, to another episode of Gibbs Drops the Needle, your one-stop spot for all things music. I'm Gibbs. It is the end of the week of July 25th of 2026. So we are going to do a rundown of the charts, starting with the Billboard Hot 100, which is for the singles, the top 10 on the Billboard Hot 100. At 10, I Just Might by Bruno Mars. Last week, this was number 7, has peaked at number 1, and been on the Hot 100 for 27 weeks. At number 9 is So Easy to Fall in Love by Olivia Dean. Last week, this was also number 9, has peaked at number 5, and been on the charts for 42 weeks. Moving up a couple spots is Man I Need by Olivia Dean. Last week, this was number 10, peaked at number 2, and has been on the charts for 47 weeks. At number 7 is I Can't Love You Anymore by Ella Langley and Morgan Wallen. Last week this was the number 4 song, so taking a little bit of a dip here. Has peaked at number 4 and been on the charts for 12 weeks now. Making its way into the top 10 is Boston by Stella Lefley. Last week this was the number 12 song. It's peaked at number 6 and been on the charts for 15 weeks now. Staying put at 5 is Dracula by Tame Impala and Jenny. Last week, as I mentioned, this was also the number 5 song. That's where it's peaked and been on the charts for 42 weeks. Moving up a couple spots is Hate That I Made You Love Me by Ariana Grande. Last week this was number 6, peaked at number 1, been on the list for 7 weeks. At number 3, staying put, is Be Her by Ella Langley. It's peaked at number 2 and been on the charts for 22 weeks. Also staying put is I Knew It, I Knew You by Taylor Swift. It's peaked at number 1 and been on the Hot 100 for 6 weeks. And staying at your number 1 spot for the Billboard Hot 100 is Choosin' Texas by Ella Langley. It's been on the charts for 39 weeks. So originally I thought that maybe Choosin' Texas was just bumping up on the charts due to the 4th of July, but obviously hanging on for 3 weeks now after that, so it's been hanging on at number 1 and has also made some history. So Billboard put out an article saying Ella Langley's Choosin' Texas makes more history with 14th week at number 1 on Billboard Top 100. It goes on to say Ella Langley's Choosin' Texas tallies a 14th week at number 1 on the Billboard Hot 100, tying a pair of iconic songs for more historic heights. The single, which first led the Hot 100 in February, matches Mariah Carey's We Belong Together and Whitney Houston's I Will Always Love You for the most weeks at number 1 among non-holiday titles by women with no male-billed acts. Adding in Carey's All I Want for Christmas Is You, Choosin' Texas ties for the second longest command among songs only by women. So making some history here at the number 1 spot. And although it is tied right now, it's probably a good chance that it's going to hold that number 1 spot probably next week unless something major happens on the charts. So a historic run by Ella Langley and Choosin' Texas. Moving on to the Billboard 200, which is for the albums. The top 10 albums of this week, July 25th, 2026, are One Thing at a Time at 10 by Morgan Wallen. Last week this fell out of the top 10, so it's back into the top 10. It was number 11 last week, has peaked all the way up at number 1 and been on the Billboard 200 for 176 weeks. Continuing to move down is Thriller by Michael Jackson. Last week this was the number 8 album, has peaked at number 1 and been on the charts for 727 weeks. His album number 1s, which is his best of, has dropped out of the top 10 completely the last couple weeks, and Thriller continues to keep moving down here. But still impressive that an album that's so old is carrying into the top 10 for this long. A new album coming in at number 8 is Heated Rivalry, the original series soundtrack, obviously debuting at number 8. At number 7, an album that we talked about on New Music Friday is Foreign Tongues by the Rolling Stones, debuting at number 7 here on the charts. Moving down a spot at 6 is Iceman by Drake. Last week this was 5, has peaked all the way up at number 1 and been on the charts for 9 weeks. Swapping spots with Iceman is The Great Divide by Noah Kahan, coming in at 5. Last week this was number 6, peaked at number 1, been on the charts for 12 weeks. Moving down a spot is Dandelion at number 4 by Ella Langley. Last week this was number 3, peaked at number 1, been on the Billboard 200 for 14 weeks. Swapping spots with Ella Langley is Morgan Wallen with I'm the Problem at 3. Last week this was number 4, peaked at number 1, been on the charts for 61 weeks. Staying put at number 2 is You Seem Pretty Sad for a Girl So in Love by Olivia Rodrigo. It's peaked at number 1, been on the charts for 5 weeks. And a new album at number 1, debuting at number 1 here. I believe we mentioned it on a New Music Friday, and it's The Real Me by Futures. So we'll see if it continues to hold that number 1 spot going into next week or not. For the Global 200, which is again going back to singles, but now on the world stage, at 10 we have Ordinary by Alex Warren. This moved down a spot. Last week it was number 9, has peaked at number 1, and been on the charts for 75 weeks. Moving down a couple spots is Swim by BTS. Last week this was number 7, peaked at number 1, has been on the charts for 17 weeks. Staying put is Beauty and the Beat at 8 by Justin Bieber featuring Nicki Minaj. Last week, as I mentioned, this was also number 8, peaked at number 1, has been on the charts for 14 weeks. Moving down a spot is Dracula by Tame Impala and Jenny. Last week this was 6, peaked at number 2, been on the charts for 40 weeks. Also moving down a spot is Stupid Song by Olivia Rodrigo. Last week this was the number 5 song, peaked at number 1, has been on the charts for 5 weeks. Continuing the trend of moving down a spot is Billie Jean at number 5 by Michael Jackson. Last week this was number 4, has peaked all the way up at number 1 and been on the charts for 153 weeks. Making its way into the top 10, and actually the top 5, is Wonderwall by Oasis, so an older song here. Last week this was the number 26 song. It peaked at number 4 and has been on the charts for 50 weeks. I believe I saw that there was a resurgence for this song because I believe England was maybe using it as a song during FIFA. I'm not sure if that is exactly right, but I believe that it was something along those lines that was kind of creating a new popularity for this song. So you're seeing an older song creep up into the top 5 that was not even in the top 25 last week. So a big jump for Wonderwall. At number 3 is Ella Lang with Choosing Texas. Last week this was also number 3, has peaked at number 3 and been on the charts for 38 weeks. At number 2, staying put, is Hate That I Made You Love Me by Ariana Grande. It's peaked at number 1 and been on the list for 7 weeks. And staying put at number 1 on the Global 200 chart is Day Day by Shakira and Burna Boy, and it's been on the charts for 8 weeks. So the FIFA Cup is over now and Spain won, so we'll see if this song continues to hold that number 1 spot now that the FIFA Cup is over, or if it drops off the list now. So we'll have to check in next week to see if it still holds that number 1 spot or not. Moving on to the Artist 100. So the most popular artist of this week, July 25th, 2026. Starting with number 10 on that chart is Bruno Mars. Last week he was also the number 10 artist, has peaked at number 1, been on the Artist 100 chart for 607 weeks. Moving down 1 spot at 9 is Taylor Swift. Last week she was the number 8 artist, has peaked all the way up at number 1, been on the charts for 625 weeks. Also moving down a spot at 8 is Luke Combs. Last week he was the number 7 artist, has peaked at number 1 and been on the charts for 489 weeks. Moving up a couple spots at number 7 is Noah Kahan. Last week he was number 9, peaked at number 1, and has been on the Artist 100 for 154 weeks. Staying put at 6 is Drake. He's peaked at number 1 and been on the charts for 627 weeks. Moving down one spot is Michael Jackson. Last week he was number 4, peaked at number 1, has been on the Artist 100 for 539 weeks. Swapping spots with Michael Jackson at number 4 is Ella Langley. Last week she was number 5, has peaked at number 1, and been on the Artist 100 for 97 weeks. Staying put at number 3 is Olivia Rodrigo. Last week she was the number 3 artist as well, as I had mentioned. Peaked at number 1, has been on the charts for 225 weeks. Staying put at number 2 is Morgan Wallen. He's peaked at number 1 and been on the Artist 100 for 384 weeks. And your number 1 artist on the Artist 100, shooting up 90 spots here, is Future. Last week he was number 91. He has peaked at 1, obviously, and been on the Artist 100 for 397 weeks. So a huge jump for Future here. Like I said, going 90 spots, which is probably the biggest jump that any artist's song or album has made so far. Big jump for Future. So we'll see if he holds that number 1 spot, obviously coming in with a new popular album. His popularity has shot up quite a bit. We'll see if he can continue to hold that number 1 spot next week. So that is all I got for you right now when it comes to the charts. I really appreciate you tuning in. If you could like, subscribe, follow, do all the good things to help me out, I would also really appreciate that. Until next time, I'm Gibbs. This is Gibbs Drops the Needle. Stay safe and be kind.